Did you ever hear about the first Native American and Black aviatrix? This is Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman is one of 13 children. Mom and dad are sharecroppers. And in case you were wondering, sharecropping is a terrible idea because you end up having to lease your land and try to grow crops from your boss, and he ends up selling you all the things you need at exorbitant fees, just basically to keep you in this kind of indentured servitude. At age 6, she starts going to school, but it's a 4-mile hike there, and then she's got to do 4 miles back. Look, I'm lucky if my Fitbit clocks me at 10,000 steps, and she's doing that twice over. But she's scrimping and saving. At 18, she decides to go to college, and she has to drop out after a single semester because she can't afford it anymore. I get it. In 1915, she goes to a beauty school and becomes the fastest manicurist in the shop while she's living in Chicago. It's around this time that World War I breaks out and her brother goes to serve. He comes back and teases her because in France, the women can do everything, including fly. Now this strikes her fancy, and she goes around to all the flight schools and tries to take lessons, and nobody will teach her because reasons. So she starts taking night school so that she can learn French while she's working 2 jobs. Within 7 months, she has mastered the French language. And so our girl goes off to Paris, and she becomes the first Black and Native American woman to hold a pilot's license. This full-fledged aviatrix is welcomed home to fanfare as everybody is just thrilled to know that she can do it. And our girl's performing stunts on biplanes. In February of 1923, she buys her first plane. She books an air show, and then she goes to pick up her plane. On the first flight, that's when the engine stops, just mid-thing, and then she crashes. She breaks a leg, cracks a couple ribs, and gets a couple cuts on her face. So the first responders come in, they're begging to take her to the hospital, and she's begging to let them go to the air show. They win, they go to the hospital, but I get it, I've done the same thing. 1925, and she is back to her game. She saved up, bought another plane, and Coleman's performing air shows for conjoined audiences. She ain't doing that segregated nonsense. April 30th, 1926, that's when she and her mechanic, they go up for a test flight. They're 3,000 feet in the air, and that's when a wrench gets stuck in the engine, and the plane flips over. Her plane didn't have a roof, and she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Her and the mechanic didn't make it. 10,000 mourners came to her funeral. Ida B. Wells delivered her eulogy. In 1995, we ended up getting the Bessie Coleman stamp, and when Mae Jemison went up to space, she took a picture of Bessie Coleman with her. And if you want to hear the full story, we covered it in episode 4, link in bio.